Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week, featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
And welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, CEO of Keeper of the Brand Marketing and Digital Agency, along with Ray Schwetz, AVP of NEFCU. We're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship. Weekly, Ray and I bring you business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview the top business leaders in the industry. Before we welcome our guest today, I'd like to jump into Success Chat. According to Dorothy Lang, photography takes an instant out of time, altering life by holding it still. So now, helping us provide you with business empowerment today is our guest, Regina Fleming, CEO of Regina Fleming Photography. Regina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
We're so happy to be here. And ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking with an icon in the photography world. And I'd like to share with you just a little bit about her background. Regina is an artist, a photographer, a former model and actress, a motivational speaker, and a marathon runner. As a model, she signed with Wilhelmina and then Ford Models and pursued a long and fruitful modeling career. Over a 20-year span, she has appeared in hundreds, and I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, hundreds of publications, including O Magazine, Good Housekeeping, Forbes, and Essence, as well as numerous campaigns and advertisements. Regina was also photographed with the late, great Gordon Parks for the book Amazing Men by Joyce Tennyson. Regina earned her BS from my alma mater, St. John's University, but it was also after graduating from the Fashion Institute of Technology with honors that she opened Regina Fleming Photography, specializing in weddings and portraiture. In 2016, Regina graduated from the distinguished Tory Burch Foundation in partnership with Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program at Babson College. Regina is also the founder of Regina Fleming Media, in which she provides photographic content, branding, and lifestyle photography. She works with small businesses who are looking for quality storytelling photography to tell their business story. They provide exceptional photography, graphics, and social media style videos. One of those brands includes Le Dîner en Blanc, Long Island, just with full disclosure. Regina, again, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you on the call today.
Thank you.
So, Regina, tell us about your journey and how you jumped into modeling.
Well, it's funny. Even though some people will not admit it, I think a lot of young women want to become a model. But I thought that I really wanted to become model/actress. I wasn't sure even kind of what the difference was, but I knew I wanted to be in front of the camera. And after years, and I'm talking back in the day where we didn't have the internet, after years of working hard on the craft of acting, I graduated also from the Stella Adler Conservatory of Acting. I started working, getting little gigs as an actress, and it was the hardest thing in my life. I'm like, modeling can't be this hard. And then I tried to be a model, and they would say, oh, you're too short, you should be an actress. I ping-pong back to an actress. You're beautiful, you should be a model. And finally, through a relationship, I was introduced to Wilhelmina Models, and the rest was history.
Oh, that's fantastic. So now, how did you go from, being this beautiful model in front of the camera/actress to venturing behind the camera and being the person that's capturing all the beauty?
I always was attracted to photography, black and white photography. I loved black and white photography. I always looked at those photos from the 60s of African Americans. It wasn't the best time for African Americans, but I loved how it was captured. And black and white, to me, always isolated that moment. And there was always a story behind every photo. And way back in my mind, I always said I would love to take a black and white photography class. And once I became a model, and I could see how different photographers would photograph me in different ways. Some I liked, some I didn't like, and I'm always a student. And I would wonder why did I look so great in this photo? Why did this photo look this way? And I decided to take a class at the Fashion Institute of Technology. I took a night class in black and white photography. And the first time I went in a dark room, for those who are only digital, yes, before digital there were dark rooms. And the first time I saw my photo come up in the tray in the dark room, I was like, this is everything. And then I just started telling stories.
Now, how has photography allowed you to combine your love of the arts, people, and travel overall?
So imagine that you love people, and you should do something in which you're always around people. Photography allows that. Sometimes I do photograph products and landscapes, but I'm a people person, and I'm a people photographer. I love to travel. Photography has taken me all around the world. I photographed weddings on a mountain in the Canary Islands and a castle in Paris, in France. I've photographed a wedding in a glass church in the middle of a forest in Bali. So I meet clients in New York City, and they get married all around the world. And then everything is an art project to me. I mean, I'm walking down the street in New York and I see art. So it is one of the best things ever to do something you love, and something that combines everything you love together.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Donyshia Boston-Hill, and our guest today is Regina Fleming, CEO of Regina Fleming Photography. Now, Regina, what sparked your desire to specialize in wedding and portrait photography or portraiture?
So, I love when people are a little naive, and my next statement, I was a little naive. So when I graduated from FIT, while I was going to school, I would look at National Geographic, and I was like, wow, I think I want to fly, to other countries and photograph things that are going on in the world. When I really thought about it, my heart was way too soft for that. And I could not bring myself to photograph some of the terrible things that are going on, or seeing people at this vulnerable state, and then here I am with a camera, even though it is great and you can document it and we need to know, I just felt my heart was just too soft for that. So I said, well, I'm going to take this style of photographing, photojournalistic, and I'm going to photograph weddings in that way, not knowing that people were already doing that, In my head, it was like, I'm doing it first. So it's so funny that, but I looked at weddings and, because I was in the fashion world, everyone thought I was doing fashion, but I wanted something that I could feel that I'm making a change, making a difference. I still wanted to go with that initial thought and feeling I had of, photographing, making changes. And I felt that I could do something like that in a wedding photography. And there's a difference between a photographer who photographs a wedding and a wedding photographer. I think a wedding photographer, even though that is what you are, you have to know how to be a lot of other different photographers in one. For example, as the bride and groom are coming down the aisle, it's like you become a sports photographer because so many things are coming at you at the same time. You got to make sure you can't miss a beat. You become a food photographer because anything that your client pays for, they want photographed, and you have to make sure the cake and all the food looks great. You become a beauty photographer, of course. Your bride has to look beautiful, and you become a fashion photographer because there's nothing but beautiful clothing, and that's everywhere. And you become a portrait photographer and getting people together and making sure you tell their story in a portrait. So I love that. And I love. So that was a great combination for me. And every wedding was different. Even though it's the same thing, quote unquote, as a wedding, but every person is different. And that was exciting to me, and I truly enjoyed it.
Oh, that's fantastic. So word on the street is anyone who knows Regina Fleming is honored to be captured by your lens. And it's not a trend. It's really a must from members of the sorority that you're in, and also, just in lifestyle and fashion, especially in New York, in Harlem, in Brooklyn. You are just the modern age Renaissance woman when it comes to photography. So how did you turn that passion into a business?
I would say that I was still modeling. Didn't really know what I know now about business, but I would say to anyone who has a thought about business, it's something that you really like. I mean, my mantra is to do what you love, and I really mean that, because who wants to be, quote-unquote, stuck, or who wants to live for Fridays? I don't believe in that. I believe in doing what you love to do, and every day for me is my Friday. I'm like, I enjoy what I do every day. And I enjoyed photography. So I said, okay, let me start taking photos once I graduated. And then my friends were models, were getting married. I would photograph. They loved it. And it just progressed into, okay, I'm being paid for this. Let me get my business license. Let me start marketing, telling everybody I know I'm a photographer, and it was just the next phase. And while I was in FIT, I looked up some photographers all women who I admired their work, and I sent them an email asking if I could intern with them and I could learn, more about this business side and being a photographer. And Joyce Tennyson, who's an amazing photographer, and she answered me and said, sure. And I would say interning for her in 1 week felt like I had a second degree in photography and business.
Oh, wow. So you would say she's one of your crucial mentors in life.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Now, quiet as it's kept, you are an award-winning photographer, winning awards of excellence in both wedding and portrait photography by the Wedding and Portrait Photographers International. What really differentiates your expertise from other journalistic photographers?
Well, I would say for me, I shoot from the heart, and not saying anyone else doesn't. I don't know what others do. How about that? I focus on me, stay in my lane, and in my lane, I come from the heart, and then it goes to the brain and goes to the hand. And having a background in fashion and modeling, it really shows me how to make my person feel comfortable with me, because I know how my first day on the set as a model, I know how I felt so uncomfortable. I think I was like the Tin Man. I was so stiff. I didn't know what was going on. And I know that some people are very uncomfortable in front. And I have a way of making people feel very comfortable in front of the lens. And I like to listen. You know how you would have like a nosy aunt or a cousin or something? That's me. I like to know what's going on, what makes you you. And that allows me to put you in a state of feeling comfortable. And I see everything. Like my eyes are always turned on. It's like a mother who has eyes in the back of her head. I have eyes all over. So I see and I feel, and I think I bring all of that to what I do. And I care. I care about my clients.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Regina Fleming, CEO of Regina Fleming Photography, is our guest today. Now, Regina, I'm going off script a little bit. Everyone who sees you adores you, and they think you're just so beautiful, inside and out. And the one question I was wondering is, how do you get your clients to look beyond your beauty and relax? Because it could be really intimidating with you shooting them.
I think it's an asset. I mean, and that's a humbleness. That's humble. I think we live in a world that is attracted to what is, quote unquote, beautiful. I think that if you see someone who comes professionally and they speak a certain way and they hold themselves a certain way, you're interested in them also, and you feel like, hey, they're going to make me look like that, and it takes away fear, so they're like, okay, she's coming in here looking like a certain way, I trust her. And trust is very important, because getting someone to trust you, they put their guards down, and then you get that natural look from them, not the the look where they're like the eyes in what is that, Joe stuck in the headlights kind of look. You get a natural look from people when they feel comfortable, when they trust you. And I think that that's part of what I do. It's like, okay, I make them feel comfortable. Plus, before I photograph people, I have a lot of conversations with them, you know. And by the time they come, they feel like I'm a friend. Even at a wedding, I think, 90% of my weddings, everyone thinks I'm the bride's friend. Doesn't matter where the wedding is being held, nothing. It's like, you have to be a friend, because I like to blend in with them. I like to come across as I am part of this. And like I said, my number one thing is I care. I care about my clients, and I want them to have the best experience ever.
So now you attended the Tory Burch Foundation program. What do you think were your key takeaways, and what benefits did you receive from the program?
I loved the Tory Burch Foundation. Before that, I loved Tory Burch clothing, and I love how she stood, you know, how she focuses on women. And I think that one of the things that stood out for me were the people that was in my cohort with me. These women were amazing women. And for anyone who wants to be in business or entrepreneurship, just think that you have a thought that you can do something. And then you meet 29 or 30 other women who believe that, A, they can do something, and they believe in you and what you're doing. That was a phenomenal experience. Every single day that we came together, and it's 4 years later, I think 4 years later, 4 years later, I'm still in touch with the people from my cohort. With the Tory Burch, what I've learned for this particular program, you already had a business plan, you were already in business, but it was about taking your business to the next level. And even though I was photographing portraits already, I knew that I had an affinity for women and what women stand for and how women look and how women are being branded and shown. And I decided to extend my brand to really focusing another division that I call RF Women on women. And that means the portraits, the branding, the lifestyle photos of women. It also means photographing for-profit and not-for-profit events that center on women's causes and women. And I've totally enjoyed that. And it led fire to a fuel inside of me to, like, just go harder in my business. And
what top 3 business tips would you give to an entrepreneur that's listening?
Depends on what stage they're in, but let's see. 1, I would say you have to, as I said before, you have to love what you're doing. Yes, you want to chase the dollar, but who wants to chase the dollar and you hate doing what you do every day? 2, it's not about you. It's about your clients always. I'm not saying the client is always right, but I'm saying it's always about your clients. You always want your clients, how they feel, how they think, what they want. And 2, you should be so good that it's no competition if no one can out-service you. You know, I can give the best service. I give the best value. Like, I'm not competing with someone in my industry. If you want to say competition, then you're competing with anything that person touches, sees every day. But you have to do what you can do the best, and you focus on that. You know, I always wanted to give great service, good service, go beyond what people expect. And that's how you stay in business. By the way, we've been in business for 18 years.
That's longevity, especially in this day and age when you have businesses opening and closing and people losing their way and losing their confidence as entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. Regina Fleming, CEO of Regina Fleming Photography, is our guest today. So, Regina, what or who inspires you?
Let's see. I'll start with my mom, because she does and always will be my number one woman, and how she raised us, her daughters, her sons. She's incredible. And some people are born to be a mother to the world, and that's what my mother is. She has a heart for the world. I would say in business, it changes. Like, lots of things inspire me, but it's funny because Ava DuVernay's name keeps coming up in my circle of influence. And, I keep thinking about her, that she was an incredible woman in PR. And then she left and became what she is today, a director, an incredible woman who's pushing forward and changing how people see events in this world, and the narratives are changing because of her. But just think that all this time she had that seed inside of her. She could have stayed doing an incredible job in PR. So we all have different seeds in us that if we nurture them, who knows what else is hiding inside of us, where our next path is. And that to me is so incredible. And when you grow up, a lot of people would get a job and they would stay at one thing their whole life. I love and I'm attracted to people who see that they are more than one thing. And it's not being schizophrenic. It is being realizing all the talents that you have. You look at an Oprah, I always noticed growing up that men had, I call it the power of the comma. Like you see a man like Quincy Jones, and it's like director, comma, musician, comma, producer, comma. And then like a lot of women were just one thing. But no, we have so many things that we can be great in, and that's where I'm attracted to. I'm attracted to seeing people who take one thing. We look at Beyoncé's of the world, Oprah's of the world, focus on growing these different talents inside of you. That's very attractive to me.
And now people, when we watch, Regina Fleming on social media, we see you out and about at many different events, a socialite in your own right. But how did you discover Donyshia Boston-Hill?
One of my sorority sisters mentioned it to me. And then I think she invited me. And then after that, I was bit by the all white, carry your tables, your food, the excitement of it all. And I think that this is my 6th year, I think, Donyshia Boston-Hill. And it's funny because I love Paris. I love France. That's it. I'm Parisian in my head. And I remember saying, it started in Paris. It would be so nice to attend one in Paris. And that's, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I was still thinking that. And last year when they had the anniversary in Paris, I was just in Paris maybe 3 weeks before running the Paris Marathon. I came home, did what I do, and then hopped back on a plane and flew to Paris and attended Donyshia Boston-Hill in Paris, and it was everything I thought it would be, and then some.
And we have a lot to live up to here in Long Island. You capture our moments, but what do you think makes us a little bit different than other cities?
I think every Donyshia Boston-Hill and every city has a different beat to it and a different energy to it. New York is it's gritty and fast and fashionable in its own way because you're carrying your food and your shopping carts. For those who don't know about Donyshia Boston-Hill, you're carrying everything to this pop-up, elegant affair, and you're going up and down on the subways. I think being in Long Island, you have the energy because it's outside of the city, so the different type of energy. I think it's more of an excitement. Everyone's excited to do this, and I think that the fashion statements are different because you're not running up and down subway stairs, so you can wear a different type of more elegant or a different way of looking in Long Island. And I think that people who live in the suburbs, they might work all day in the city, so now they have a time that they can relax, so they really know how to put on a good party.
Absolutely. And if people like to join us, they can log onto the website for more information at longisland.donyshia.blanc, and they may see you.
Oh, they will see me, and I will see them. How about that?
Now, I hear you mentioned you're a marathon runner. Last two questions here would be, you raised over $250,000 for organizations in South Africa. You ran in Paris. Is that something that relieves your stress as an entrepreneur?
Let's see. And I know it sounds crazy, but I don't really have stress from photography. I minimize my stress. Running is a way of achieving. I do it for the bling. That's the medal. I do it for the bling. There you have my secret. I love the person I have become because of running, meaning my health-wise. And I love that I can bring people on this journey with me, that you don't have to be a marathon runner to get in better shape. I do it because who knew my body could do this? Like, who knew that these legs could run for 26.2 miles, sometimes 5 hours straight on the treadmill? Who knew I could do this? So for some, yes, it does get stress away. What it does for me is clear my head. People always say to me, well, what do you do if you run for 4 hours? What are you thinking? I'm like, by the time I'm finished, I have downloaded everything in my head. I've written books in my head. I've thought out my whole life plan in my head. I think it clears my head for me. It makes my body feel good. I have more energy than I've ever had. I think I have the energy of a 2-year-old toddler. And it helps me to show other people that you can do this too. Like, I feel like secretly, people who work out, or even if it's walking a lot, we are saving people's lives because people want to do it. People want to, people are living longer, but they want to live longer being more healthy. You don't want to live longer, be sickly. You want to live long and have, vitality and feel great and energized. And, working out and running has allowed me to show people that, hey, if I can do this, believe me, you can do this.
We would like to thank you, Regina Fleming, CEO of Regina Fleming Photography, for being our guest today.
Thank you.
My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, along with co-host Ray Schwetch, your co-host and producers. The creative director of Tower Talk Business Radio is Rudy Breedy. This is an NCC Foundation Business Leader Council production. Visit nccradio.org for more information, available on iHeartRadio and as a podcast on iTunes, Android, Podcast, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.